Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, 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 and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at Mount Panorama Circuit, also known as Bathurst. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Sebastian Boscher Williams with John Robertson in the production booth. You're here live watching Apex Racing TV.
Good evening, everybody at home. Good evening, Austin, as well. It's nice to be back reunited. It's been 2 weeks since we were last in the commentary booth together for some iRacing Formula 3.5 fun. And Bathurst, I mean, what a track we are at tonight. Such a difficult circuit to master. And I think, you know, today drivers might just struggle a little bit, but we've got 24 cars, Austin, trying to all make their way around the Bathurst hillside. What more could you ask for a Saturday evening event?
Not much, honestly. A cold beer one hand and great racing on the other. It's going to be a great day here, and honestly, a barbecue sandwich would be great. That's all else I can ask for, honestly. But yeah, it's going to be a great day here at Mount Panorama. These Formula 3.5 cars. The setup is really fast. So if they're looking at these drivers, they're playing it very risky out there right now. A lot of medium downforce drivers because they want that speed on that straightaway.
Yeah, that's really interesting. We were both really surprised when we loaded into the session to see everybody rocking the medium downforce package, not going for the high downforce, you know, what you'd really want to get the grip through the corners, especially at the top of the hill. These Formula 3.5 cars, though, do have a lot of inherent downforce, they have a lot of ground effect, so they might be able to get away with the lower downforce configuration, but it's certainly not going to make their lives easier, especially as the fuel in the tires burn off. The cars will become lighter and less grippy. Could be really difficult as we head to the closing stages of the race. So it's certainly going to be a race to stick around and watch to the very end, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you certainly never know what exactly could happen over here. We've seen unfortunate incidents up at the top at Skyline in the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 series a few years ago, where there was a 16-car crash. Drivers here on this opening lap are going to be very cautious, and they're going to have to look after what's going on with their tires, what's going on with everybody else, and make sure that they do not hit any walls to keep these cars going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's become a little bit of a a little bit of a common occurrence in iRacing to have a fairly massive accident at Bathurst. Hopefully we can we can buck that trend today. Yuki Shirakawa, though, is somebody that's trying to buck another trend, and that's Eddie Samborski getting pole after pole this season. Shirakawa, fastest in Sector 1, fastest in Sector 4. Yuki Shirakawa, the number 6 in tonight's event, really hammering his way around the final corners around Bathurst. Shirakawa looking oh so quick.
Yeah, Yuki Shirakawa sitting up there at the top of the timing charts right now, but Eddie Samborski is just now finishing up his lap. The Samborski comes across the line, but does not top Yuki Shirakawa. Sergio Marcias, he's coming across the line right now, running that medium downforce. Had a few purple sectors, but does not improve that much. Currently looking at Jason Sieg, as Jason is currently sitting third, comes across the line. Jason Sieg jumps Eddie Samborski to go up to second place. So the quick shotgun of drivers at the start, as that is Takashi Shinodi going up there into 10th place as they start their first. Actually, they put down their first lap. Their first lap was invalidated.
Yeah, drivers really picking up those 1Xs around the circuit at the moment, and you might be thinking, well, where can you really get a 1X around Bathurst? It's just walls, but actually it's fairly easy too, especially as you head down towards the braking zone into the chase, the final chicane. Always a very difficult place to keep the car all four wheels within the circuit. We have a look at the moment at Daniel Gallis, a driver heading up to the top of the hill, and there's these sort of little pockets of grass that you can find around the circuit if you're not being careful, and certainly it's very easy to invalidate a lap. And of course, it's not even mentioning the 0Xs that you can pick up just sort of lightly tapping the wall. So drivers will need to be careful. Currently out of the 24 or 20 trying to do quick maths, 24 cars that we have on the grid, only 19 of them have set a lap time, and with only 30 or so seconds left to go in this qualifying session, Austin, I hazard to guess that not everybody will be able to set a qualifying lap time.
Yeah, not everybody can set a lap time or a second lap time, because it does take a little bit to get around here, and especially if you had an incident on your first lap, oh man, you're going to be tiptoeing around that opening lap. 10 seconds left in qualifying right now as we are looking at the number 9 of Daniel Gassis. He's got one corner, 4 seconds to go. It's a short run-up, but it's not going to be it. He's going to be too short, too little, too late. He comes across the line and does not get it across. He did get across there, but does not get the qualifying lap counted. It's time to get ready to rock and roll here at Bathurst. Yuki Shirakawa will rocket off the line, as he's famous for. He's starting off all pole, followed by Jason Sieg, Eddie Samborski, Fabio DeCarmo, Sergio Macias, A. Carlos Derecho, J.M. Lawrence, and Miguel Crespo, Simon Pizca, Takashi Shinode in 10th place, followed by John Owens, Emil Dorado in 12th place, followed by Dennis Cornu, Edward Torres, Zoltan Kumari, Martin J. Horn, Tom Minot, Jesus in 18th, followed by Corey Schramm, Daniel Gallis, Thomas Larink, Jay Adams, Mike Land, and Andrew Alonso at the end of our 24-car grid here at Bathurst.
Oh, what a race you are in for tonight. Reminder that turn 1 is given the moniker Hell Corner. Such a difficult braking zone, especially at the start of a race. Tend to see a little bit of action heading into there on the first lap, and then you've got Quarry Bend up towards the cutting turns 2 and 3. Another hotbed for action at any phase of the race, but especially in the opening few laps. And another big sort of question mark over this race is that Eddie Samborski, you know, the dominant driver in the Formula 3.5 series, starts in third. He's got Sieg and Shirakawa ahead of him. We look at the final driver, 24th place, Andrew Alonso, starting before the final corner. In fact, some drivers really not having the best or won't be having the best of starts, because it's just going to be so difficult to get that car away from the line.
It is definitely, as we are getting ready to rock and roll, everyone's all lined up. One driver that we are looking at the front Yuki Shirakawa. We know on how fast he is off the line, as we are green here at Bathurst. Shirakawa gets a good start. Eddie Samborski gets a good start as well. Top three all into a line heading to hell. Oh, Eddie Samborski already taking a look up into there right now. As everybody hits a hell corner right behind him. They're all in a straight line. Then we got a little bit of side-by-side action, but everybody getting through the first turn pretty safely. Martin Hort and Corey Schwarm did not take the start, or they were starting for the pit lane, as Yuki Shirakawa leads the ball into the second turn and up into the mountain.
Remarkably clean from the top 7. In fact, nobody is swapped a position in the top 7. Simone Pizzica, the first driver to make up a place on the opening lap. They all make their way, though, through the cutting, up through Griffin's Mount, towards Reed Park and Sullivan Park. Samborski hustling and hassling. Oh, contact!
Oh, no! Crash up front! Oh, no! Eddie Samborski and Jason C crash on the opening lap at the top of the mountain. This is not what we wanted to see, and this is the second time this season that Eddie Samborski has been involved in a opening lap collision.
And if you, oh, more accidents, Austin. Oh. Huge accident.
We got a pile up and a car hopping around, and that is not a kangaroo, I can tell you. Simone Pizzica up on his roof, well, up on his hood, upside down. Not right side up.
On the roll bar, on the crash chute, whatever you want to call it.
Right side up, but not in Australia.
There we see, so Pizzica into the pits as well as Jason Sieg. Torres, I think, as well, another driver to head into the pit lane. But just quickly, going back to that Sieg and Samborski accident, I think Eddie Samborski is going to have to take a high proportion of the blame there. You just don't make a move up towards Sullivan Park on the opening lap of a race. It's just simply never going to work, and Samborski really feeling the effects, and he now comes into the pit lane, I think, as well as Shindoi, as we see what happened to Eddie Samborski.
Samborski right on the back of Jason C right there, and oh, he's looking for a move. He's looking for a gap that it was there, and then it slowly was not, and he was already committed into going for it. But yeah, that's Eddie. That's on Eddie right there. And I know what a few people say. I know what a very famous Brazilian driver say. If you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver. If you go for a gap that isn't there, especially at Bathurst, you have a death wish.
And that's...
Ooh, Emilio.
Emilio, yeah, made a secondary contact with the wall as he tries to rejoin the racetrack. So yeah, and the car is crabbing, so he's going to have to pull over and tow back to the pits, and that's exactly what Garado does. But unsurprising that this track is biting hard already. John Owens there locking up as he heads through the dipper. Really difficult in these Formula cars. You don't tend to see them race Bathurst in real life very often. It's actually Owens without a rear engine cover, which is quite something, considering that I don't really remember a car sort of flying through the air at any point.
Yeah, there's no iRacing new damage model on these cars, so the rear engine cover, they do tend to fly off at random points, but it's not that really affected to the car. It will be adding a little bit of drag, but in all otherness, he's fine.
You see, in theory, we'll have to wait and see. Certainly won't be helping the engine temperatures whatsoever. This is what happened to Simone Pizzica, not getting the graphics. But Simone Pizzica, we saw it was a huge incident, wasn't it, Austin?
Yeah, he was upside down on his roof or on the roll bar, bouncing around. It was just a pile up heading after the dip and into the force elbow, and it's just such a tight part of the track. One car front loses it, then everybody else is on top of it. It's just so hard to get through there. And
it is. I'm sorry, Austin.
Third time this season. iRacing needs safety cars.
Sorry, Austin, for cutting you in there. So had a word in my ear, and it already started that incident with Pizzica, where he simply made a mistake heading down the dipper, clipped the inside wall, and looked like he lost steering. So disaster. And then Owens was involved in that incident as well, and that's why you see him driving a fairly damaged Formula 3.5 car at the moment. But it won't be affecting him too much. It's not a critical aero part, but as I mentioned, engine temperatures will have to be a little bit of a concern for Owens. He can't run for too long, I should say, in the slipstream of another car, because, you know, contrary to what you might believe, when the engine cover gets reduced, it really, really hampers your engine cooling ability.
Yeah, the engine cooling capability of that car will be affected right there as we continue to race on here at Bathurst. As we go side by side, heading into the final quarter, diving out to the inside, a little bit of lockup up ahead, but Tom Minot on the offensive right now, getting onto the back of Jesus. Not going to have the opportunity to be making that move, but the fight for 10th place, fight for 9th place is really strong right now. 4-car fight.
Yeah, really competitive at the moment as they head now down towards turn 2. Minot and Suarez really battling it out side by side as they head to the braking zone of Quarry Bend.
Yeah, Quarry Bend, Minot is skating ahead, using the draft and DRS for his advantage to jump up into 9th place. Thomas Lapreg at the back of this group, sitting there in 12th place, up 9 spots where he qualified. Certainly helped out by those incidents up front and starting a little bit safer than everybody else. Certainly Bathurst is one of the tracks where you don't have to have the best qualifying to have a great, fantastic race, as long as you know you can get there to the end all scot-free.
That's exactly what Bathurst is about. It's about survival. You don't need to be quick, you just need to keep it on the track, and that's exactly what, you know, 20th place downwards hasn't managed to do. Samborski, Pizzica, Garrado, Sieg and Torres, all drivers
Thomas,
who have fallen foul.
You see that move that Thomas just did on Zoltan? Zoltan went down towards the inside. It looked like Zoltan took a very cautious line heading into the brakes. He didn't want to get into the back of Sace ahead of him, and Thomas took the line regularly. He just carried that overspeed and just swung it around the outside, down that straight, and heading into the cutting right now, and heading into the chase as Thomas is up there into 11th now and chasing down on Jesus ahead of him.
Yeah, a little bit of a lunge there, or having a look, I should say, into Murray's corner, the final corner from Thomas Laprink, but decides better of it, which is a fairly decent idea. The curb on the apex of Murray's corner is really high and can catch out, you know, a Mazda MX-5, let alone a Renault Formula 3.5 car. That's the car heading out of the pits, trying to see who that is. That might be Edward Torres, the number 16, I think it is. Torres, this will be his first lap completed, so I think Torres missed the start and has decided after 5 laps or so to head out onto the circuit and have a little bit of fun. We'll keep you abreast of that situation. But at the front, just wanted to point it out, Austin, you know, Yuki Shirakawa has been a driver that for the last few seasons has been so quick in qualifying, but has maybe lacked a little bit when it comes to race pace, and certainly when it comes to being able to be consistent in the race. But he currently leads Sergio Macias by 3 seconds. It's a dream race at the moment for the Japanese driver.
Yeah, it is a fantastic race for Yuki Shirakawa, and fantastic move by Thomas Laprink heading from Skylines and into the dipper. You see that now, knife edge that move is Thomas making up a fantastic move on Jesus, and what a fantastic start that we're seeing from the Australian, I believe that's the Australian flag, in his home country, up 11 spots and currently sitting in 10th.
Minot and Owens as well, heading down towards the chase corner. Or the chase kink, I should say. Shirakawa sets the fastest lap of the race for good measure. Austin, action plenty heading into the braking zone of the chicane.
Yeah, as they head into the chase and out of the chase, heading into Murray's corner. Got a little bit of pressure on the back of Jesus right behind. Jesus lost out a spot to Zoltan ahead of him. a little bit of a brake lock up. That's going to allow Daniel Gallus to have a little bit of a look. There's Gallus looking down towards the inside as we head into hell and down the mountain straightaway.
Jesus there really benefiting from the slipstream. Daniel Gallus, though, pulls up, goes side by side.
DRS definitely activated and cruised by on the straightaway and able to jump up into 12th place, up 8 spots from Daniel Gallus. Good showing today. I believe Daniel was also one of the cars that didn't have the best qualifying, but certainly benefited the most out of all of that.
Yeah, up 8 places. The current sort of lead driver when it comes to making up positions so far in this race. It's still Thomas Lepring up 11 spots from where he started. And well, you can sort of see 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. That the least amount of places that they lost was 11, and that's
car on the wall. That's Lepring, and then we got another car.
That's Torres
the wall as well. Torres and Thomas Lepring, all separate incidents coming out of the Dipper, and in the S, this is where we saw that Simon Pizzica incident as well, as we got 2 cars turn around right there, and they're both pulling a little bit of Austin Powers moments right now as they try to pull off a 30-point turn in that tight area. Well, that is a commentator's curse on both of us, I would say. Thomas Lepring heading into the Dipper, such a hard corner to get right, and it's so easy just to get a little bit too excited because the track just drops off as he goes around, and then Rajad, exactly the same thing, hops around right there. Now they're both looking at the F3 box, the relative box, to just to know there's another car coming, but 2 cars around, but neither of them with major damage.
No, lucky for both involved, but I have to say that Thomas Lepring was going to get away with that a little bit more. It was heartbreaking, and then Torres arrived on the scene and really hampered Thomas's quick exit. Just the amount of speed, though, Thomas took at the top of Skyline, really committed through that section. You could tell that he was up 11 spots. That's Fabio De Carmo in 3rd place. He was another one involved in that Simone Pizzica incident early on, but that's heavy damage to the side of De Carmo's car. And I have to say, Carlos Dreschko now trying to capitalize as much as possible, heading down the Conrad Straight towards the kink, towards the chase. But this is going to be a place gain for Dreschko.
Yeah, Carlos Dreschko down the inside, able to make that move easy down the Conrad Straight, heading into the chase. Pretty sure DRS wasn't even needed for the number 2 driver, as Carlos is now chasing down Sergio Macias ahead of him. The 2 fellow countrymen sitting in 2nd and 3rd, but nobody seems to be on Yuki Shirakawa's level up there today. Yuki Shirakawa up 3 seconds compared to everybody else, and Yuki, I believe he's the only driver that I can tell. I believe he is running that lower downforce package. He is. That rear wing is a lot lower than everybody else's, so he's going to be having that top speed advantage down the mountain and Conrad Straights.
Certainly working out for him at the moment, although Sergio Macias was a little bit quicker on that previous lap, only by less than a 10th. But yeah, Shirakawa really rocketing around at the moment. Although for the number 6 car, he's got Jay Adams up ahead of him. Well, he did have Jay Adams up ahead of him. That was a blue flag situation, but Shirakawa is let by before Skyline, and Shirakawa is just lapping away. But the biggest barrier, if we're completely honest, Austin, between Shirakawa and getting the win is just surviving 12 laps around Bathurst. It's such a difficult task, and I know for one that I struggle in a GT3 car, let alone a Formula 3.5 car. Immensely talented you have to be to even keep a car on the Formula 3.5 car on the track for a lap, let alone 20 consecutive laps.
I believe I'm banned from this track due to my safety rating.
I think I should be. I think we could certainly arrange a few more additions to the list. There's
a few tracks I do not, I willingly do avoid to race. Bathurst is one of them. I can't race around here. So to see everybody around here just flinging these cars around close to the wall and on a knife's edge, I have massive respect for all these drivers.
I completely feel the same way. Tell you what though, Shirakawa lost around 4 tenths or so on that last lap. He did have to get past Jay Adams, but just wonder if Macias now is sort of starting to sense that first place might be on the cards in today's race. Shirakawa not taking the optimal line through cutting, really starting to feel the pressure, I think, Yuki Shirakawa.
Well, Sergio's going to have to get that move made during the mountain section because Yuki is going to have that advantage on the straightaways and is going to be making life hell for Sergio on trying to get past Yuki Shirakawa. We did see Tom make that move up here earlier heading into the dipper, but Yuki Shirakawa is going to be very aggressive if push comes to shove. It's going to be a very fun fight. Speaking of a fun fight, we got a fun fight right now between Miguel Crespo and Jay Lawrence as we fly through the dipper.
Dipper really proving to be a difficult portion on the circuit. Of course, these single-seater cars, they don't have any suspension really to write home about, so stiffly sprung. So you really have to manage where you place the car into the dipper and on the exit to avoid sort of seeing what we saw from the likes of Leprinkin and a few other drivers throughout this race. So, Crespo negating that that potential incident very well. But yeah, still having to find some pace. It's a real sort of balancing act out on the circuit. Sergio Macias Austin a 10th quicker than Shirakawa on that last lap. Macias does need to be a little bit quicker on each lap than Shirakawa, a little bit more than a 10th of a second if he wants to catch up to Shirakawa in the 10 laps we've got, as that looks like a very damaged
That's another incident for Thomas Leprinck. This time he does have damage, and it's not in the good way. Damage is never good, but he is missing his entire front nose structure. And this is heading into the dipper where he had that other incident. I feel like he's going into the S's, and very big hit, but kept on going. I believe I saw in the Bathurst 1000, that is one of the most, is a very heavy incident and pretty much a mirror of that incident as he's being passed by Takashi down the inside, as he's going to have to be making another trip into the pit lane.
I think that might be a race over for the 17. A very common incident that you see around Bathurst, just too much commitment over the hill. It's Skyline Corner, and then once you really enter Skyline with too much speed, there's not much you can really do to arrest any excess speed that you have before you make very good acquaintances with a wall. You're right, that's Leprink's first time into the pits. He managed to continue after that spin we saw at the dipper, but as I said, I doubt we'll be seeing the number 17 car out again in the final 10 laps of this race.
Well, the rest of the cars seem pretty all right, and Formula cars are very easy to replace the front nose structure. I know the Mercedes F1 car has 3 front noses this weekend, so they definitely have the spares. It's just going to be a little bit of a repair. We should be seeing Thomas Leprinck back on track very soon. I would say he'll be back on track because this is his home track. He could hop off in a way, but we don't know about that. It's all up to the driver. I believe we'll be seeing him out on track. They could definitely get that car repaired unless there's massive suspension damage. He's just left the session, has he?
Well, I don't know if he's left the session, but he did have a lot of steering damage, so certainly will be a lengthy repair. But you never know. Miguel Crespo making his way past Jay Lawrence. Lawrence falling down the order a little bit quicker than he would have liked. Miguel Crespo, I don't even think, Austin, that he was using the DRS. So I wonder if we can add Jay Lawrence to the number of drivers, or the list of drivers, I should say, that have gotten a little bit of damage so far in this race.
And Leprinck has it. So I feel like that list of drivers who have had damage or a little bit of damage is ever growing. And even the top guys, they might have a little bit of floor damage as well, because the dipper is such a big jolt to the car that I will not be surprised if cars are bottoming out right there.
No, they really, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. And as I was mentioning earlier, the suspension is so stiff that, you know, the only really thing that's left after the very short suspension travel that they have is the floor, is the front wing. So I think, you know, it wouldn't be uncommon to see, you know, floor damage or bent front wings as the race progresses. Currently at the moment though, Sergio Macias is sort of mounting a little bit of a challenge to Yuki Shirakawa's lead. Last lap for Shirakawa at 49.0. The fastest lap of the race for Sergio Macias. He's in the 1 minute 48.8 for Macias. Don't count out Sergio for a race win today, but whatever the race results will be, I'm sure it'll be fascinating for the final 8 laps of the race.
The final 8 laps is still up for grabs between all these drivers. You have to keep it all locked in and going right now. This is going to be a little bit of a hard situation as we ride on board of Sergio Macias, trying to chase down Yuki Shirakawa. Last lap, Sergio, fast lap of the race, and that is 2/10 advantage to him, but 2.5 seconds ahead up the road is Yuki Shirakawa. Sergio, he's going to have to get up and go or hope that he finds Yuki Shirakawa and a cloud of smoke up ahead of him, because that gap seems to be just slowly going down, especially through the mountains, because this is the advantage that Sergio has. But heading into the straightaway now, this is going to be all advantage Yuki Shirakawa.
Wow, what a camera angle you just saw there. Macias threading the needle through up the hill and then coming firmly down. What has happened to Fabio Di Carmo?
He's going slow. It looks like Fabio might have had an issue heading in the S's as well and down the dipper.
As we see, so heading up towards Skyline is Fabio Di Carmo. He's successfully navigated.
That's a lot of speed.
A lot of speed. Managed to get it. Oh, it's spun into the dipper.
Ooh.
And how has he managed to keep that car going? That's heavy, heavy front end damage you see to the front right of Di Carmo's car. He'll keep on going, and I don't think I can see any obvious steering damage. The car's not crabbing in a straight line. Looks like he's holding the wheel somewhat straight to go in a straight line.
The front right wing is really damaged. He's going to have to pit for a repair. Sergio Macias, update as him and Yuki Shirakawa are both running the same downforce package.
That allows Macias more of an opportunity then to make his way past Shirakawa on the straights, but this lap, Macias has lost sort of 2 or 3 tenths of a second to Yuki
new
Shirakawa.
fast lap, Yuki Shirakawa. Shirakawa now advantage by 0.03 of a second over Sergio Macias. That top spot is going to be very hard as Fabio Di Carmo is making his pit stop right now. And everybody getting past him right there. Currently our biggest mover is Daniel Gallus at 13 spots.
What a race the number 9 car has had. Gallus has really kept out of all the trouble at the start of the race, picked his moments wisely, and that car still looks remarkably clean. So hats off to Daniel Gallus at the moment as he heads up towards the cutting. Really tricky section of the track, although Austin, I don't quite know what part of the circuit isn't tricky. I mean, it is quite devilish in the way that it's just so difficult. There is no easy portion of the circuit, but then that's why it's so rewarding if you manage to complete a lap, and even better if you can complete a fairly competitive lap as well.
I find the mountain straight especially hard.
Whenever you sort of talk about that, I'm reminded of Martin Brundle's quote. In a straight line, I was World Championship material. It was just when it got to the corners that I struggled a little bit. But yeah, this
story of my life. Minot has had an issue. Tom Minot and Zoltan have swapped spots, and Minot has fallen down to 10th.
The Kamori, the number 20 car. So you're right, he's made his way up into 9th place, Minot down to 10th, and I wonder, Austin, if we're going to see another sort of fairly similar spin to what we saw a driver do a few moments ago.
Oh, just like, oof. Oh, the S's dance. Oh, hello. That's a big break. Well, there is Zoltan getting past him, but that was also John Owens making the move on Tom Minot. Minot also had a little bit of a issue last lap as well. He was forced 2 seconds off the pace from everybody else around him. So 2 laps in a row, and oh, there's Miguel Crespo, and he's joined there with 3 cars into the wall and contact all over there. Miguel Crespo, Jay Lawrence, and Dennis Cornu all up in there. There's Cornu. Cornu getting past him as he was at, that's Jay Adams. So Adams, the lap car, involved there as well. 3 cars up in the wall, and a little bit of a roadblock at the cutting.
Just a little bit of a roadblock as we have a look at Miguel Crespo. He was the instigator in all of this action. Up towards the cutting, turn 3 we go. Too much speed into the corner. Yeah, he's going to lock the rears and round the car goes. But Nan, it's going to be who joins
Jay Adams.
So
it's going to be Jay Lawrence. Oh, big contact with Jay Lawrence. And that secondary contact right there, also right there. There's Jay Adams, and I think there might be a little bit of a pit. I don't know if they're going to have to go into the pits, Jay Lawrence or Miguel Crespo. Miguel Crespo has given that spot back to Jay. So Jay Lawrence is now sitting in 4th place. So I think Lawrence got easy out of that, but I think they're going to be heading to the pits. I am not sure.
Sorry to cut across you there, Austin. What has happened to this man?
Shirakawa's fallen off the pace. Yeah, he's fallen off the pace, and yeah, he's lost 2 seconds last lap.
No, battle very much on then for the race lead. As you see, Macias really hassling and hustling Shirakawa up through the cutting where we saw that incident 1 lap ago. Shirakawa doesn't look as quick as he's looked all race long. I wonder as he picked up some damage. 2 seconds lost, as you see on your screen on that last lap alone. Shirakawa really under pressure if he wants to keep this race win.
Yeah, Macias going to be putting all the pressure on Yuki Shirakawa, trying to make Yuki make that same mistake over and over again. We don't know what mistake he did, but I have a feeling it was a little bit of a slide at the top of the mountain because Sergio is putting on a big charge right now. He put purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 3, this time by Yuki Shirakawa, trying to recover that drive. As here comes Sergio in that draft, is buried on that gearbox, heading to the chase right now. As our fight for the lead is going to be 5 laps to go between these two.
So we've got the driver that's been the quickest car all race long so far, and in qualifying, Yuki Shirakawa versus Sergio Macias. Macias started in 5th place, has worked his way up into 2nd with a great opportunity of taking a race win here tonight. As they round turn 1, hell corner, so it certainly is advantage Sergio Macias. Macias has the slipstream, he has the ability to wait and watch Shirakawa and almost sort of bide his time until the last lap where he can sort of send it down the inside. He had a little bit of a look into Forest Bend, but not overly keen to make the move. And I just wonder how many DRS uses does Yuki Shirakawa have left?
DRS in the medium downforce setting is very intriguing. It doesn't give you as big as a move as it does in the high downforce, but yeah, you're only allowed 8 uses for it. And in these last few laps, I can guarantee you that Yuki Shirakawa is using them to his willingness right now. But both these guys at the top of the mountain are going to be feeling the effect of these low downforce machines as they try to struggle to weave these things around the top of the mountain and avoid any issue. Martin, Jay Horn, oh, there's Jesus in a fight with Tom Minot. Minot goes, oh, hello. There was 1 car around on the apex right there. It's Jay Adams.
Oh, poor Jay Adams has almost been facing a wall more than he's been facing the circuit, I think, at certain points in this race today. Adams, I wonder, has done the sort of the classic Bathurst spin and hit the inside curb at Murray's Bend and then lost the rear.
That's exactly what's happened.
I thought Takamo, sorry to cut the question there, Austin, thought he'd come out of the pits, but I think that was a little bit of a miscommunication on my end. Macias, oh, locks up Austin.
Oof. He had an opportunity to close in that gap, but just took too much speed. Yuki Shirakawa, new fastest lap of the race. both of these lap times that they just put in were pretty stormy. If Sergio did not make that a little bit of a mistake, I think Sergio would have taken that fastest lap by Yuki Shirakawa because they were inseparable that entire lap.
Which is impressive because, you know, although we have two fairly long straights that you benefit from following a car and gaining that slipstream, you don't want to be following a car up to the top of the mountain and then back down again. Can really hamper your grip abilities. It's Jay Lawrence.
Damage front, there's damage to his wing as he gets overtaken by Daniel Gallus. He makes another overtake right there. That is a lapped car though. Jay Lawrence is staying out even though with a big bent front left wing.
Also, the little access panel at the top of the front wing where you can sort of adjust sort of the pedal box, that's missing from Jay Lawrence's car, which is very confusing because I'm not quite sure how he's managed to do that.
Alonso, it's around and in the middle of the circuit. This is a very precarious spot to be because it's a blind corner. He does a smart thing because I'm pretty sure the leaders were just around that corner right there. Fight for 9th place. 3-car fight. Jesus leading out Martin Horn and Tom Minot as we go 3 laps to go here at Bathurst. But yeah, the front footwell cover, as you said, that's the weirdest part missing of a car I've ever seen. So we go side by side. Martin Horn down the inside and up for 9th place. He goes a little bit deep.
Yeah, he's so deep that he disappears for a few seconds. That's a fairly good party trick from Martin Horn. Manages to recover. Has Martin Horn got a little bit of a connection issue at the moment?
Yes, he does have a connection issue, and it's definitely not being powered by 1.1 gigawatts.
I've missed working with you, Austin, in the commentary booth. It's always great fun. Can certainly attest to that. Macias and Shirakawa, I've been keeping my eye on that, Austin. Gap is now down once again to 0.3 of a second. Sergio Macias sort of feels like he's biding his time, waiting until the final lap. I think Shirakawa is going to have to be... Oh, big accident in the background there.
Oh, Minot in the wall. And upside down, and we got our second kangaroo sighting here today. No kangaroos are in iRacing, but when you get a Formula 3.5 car just a little bit upset, they turn into a kangaroo.
Oh, we have to keep on our Australian theme. This is your battle for the lead. They're coming down to where we saw Minot have his issue. Minot, though, has towed back to the pit lane. He's done the sort of customary Bathurst sort of iRacing exit method, which is if you spun on the hill, you just instantly sort of hit your escape key, your tow back to pits. So you don't really see it, sort of an incident like we saw earlier on with Miguel Crespo and a few other drivers. This battle, though, very intriguing and almost certainly will go down to the wire.
It certainly is looking to be going down to the wire. We're closing in on 2 laps to go now as Sergio and Yuki continue their dance. Sergio advantage him last lap, 0.3 quicker, and the new fastest lap of the race. Saw him have a lockup right here. No mistake right now. 2 laps to go here at Bathurst. And new, did they just set exactly the same lap time?
0.1 of a second between them in Sergio Macias's favour. Fairly incredible pace that these two are setting. Just to give sort of some indication of how much quicker they are from the rest of the pack, Macias's last lap, the new fastest lap of the race, at 48.5. Last lap for Carlos Dreschko in third at 50.1. That's how quick these two are pushing each other at the moment, and it seems like there's no sign of these two stopping. And Yuki Shirakawa felt the need to just defend a little bit heading into the cutting. Sergio Macias applying enough pressure to Yuki Shirakawa. Do not go away. This one is going to be one for the ages.
Shirakawa leading up through the skyline. Macias getting a good run, heading down into the S's and the Dipper. Macias just trying to make Shirakawa make a mistake. Shirakawa just trying to keep Macias behind him. Both of them have the same aero package, so it's going to be all about getting the best exit as they head down towards the chase right now. They have a lap car up ahead of them. Lap car sitting on the left-hand side of the road. Sergio closing in on that gearbox. DRS activated by both the drivers. Here we go. Sergio looking down towards the inside. heading into the chase right now. Side by side they go. Sergio round to the outside. Yuki Shirakawa on the inside using a little bit of the curb. Sergio Macias takes the lead of the race, but Yuki Shirakawa is still right there. White flag is in the hands right now as we head around the final corner. Yuki Shirakawa dives down the inside. A little bit of luck by Sergio Macias. Shirakawa retakes the lead. White flag in the air.
Is that a little bit of a dress rehearsal for one more for the final lap? Macias has a look down the inside into turn one. Shirakawa wide. Huge opportunity for Macias up towards Quarry Bend.
Macias going to be having the better speed as Shirakawa lost the rear end coming out that final corner. Macias going around to the outside. Over the hill they go and up into the mountain. Macias with the lead. Shirakawa right behind. Macias gets the front nose ahead, but he goes a little bit deep, and Yuki Shirakawa retakes the lead.
Was that Sergio Macias' final opportunity in this race to take the lead? His saving grace will be that he'll have the slipstream down the back straight, down the Conrod straight towards the chase corner, but Macias really overcooked it. He almost sort of looked a gift horse in the mouth there to take the race lead and didn't capitalise. Is that Sergio Macias' final chance of victory lane today?
Sergio and Shirakawa up ahead one last time down the S's and to the dipper. That lap car is still ahead of him as Sergio's just gone a little bit too deep once more. He's lost more time. 8/10 of the gap right now. Advantage Shirakawa. 2 corners to go for Yuki Shirakawa. Up ahead, 8/10 separates him in second place. Yuki Shirakawa makes it work on that last lap, and now he's just got a few corners to go.
Lap car up ahead of him. That's a fellow countryman, Takashi Shindoi, but I don't think that will impact him too much. But yeah, I think that was sort of the final sort of fate for Sergio Macias, that lock up into the dipper. Yuki Shirakawa looking very, very good for a race win here, Austin.
And I believe taking his first ever Formula 3.5 victory here on Apex Racing TV, it is Yuki Shirakawa!
Absolutely well deserved for the number 6 Yuki Shirakawa. He's worked so hard for that for the 2 seasons that I have been commentating on Formula 3.5, and well, Carlos Dreshko pleased with a 3rd place as well. And what a top 3, and what a race, Austin. Bathurst never fails to deliver, but I have to say, I don't think I had 16 cars coming across the line in my book of how many finishes we'd have today.
Yeah, fantastic race up there. We got a little bit of an issue. This is Kashi getting into it, and a big contact right there.
A little bit of a miscommunication there on the approach to turn 2. That could have easily been Shirakawa and Macias, but Shin Doi limping around. That will be heavy, heavy damage to his car, and I think that was Martin Horn involved in on that as well. It's not just the gap between the top 3 and P4 and 5. Gallus and Cornu only just crossing the line. Austin, such a big gap between the top 3 and the rest of the field, and John Owens, he hasn't even come around the final corner yet.
Yeah, John Owens is still out there. There's John Owens. John Owens comes home in 6th place, up 5 spots. Daniel Gallus ahead of him, finishing in 5th, up 15 spots.
Really goes to show that if you just sort of play your cards right, if you just leave everybody else to make their mistakes, to be involved in their crashes, you can really sort of clean house when it comes to taking positions. Takashi Shindoi does come across the line to finish in 11th place after that final lap incident. And Macias, I thought he was going to do the customary jump at Bathurst, but Sergio Macias decides against it.
I put a bounty out there in former seasons, telling a few drivers, be like, I think it's $10 if you could try to make that jump.
Well,
Carlos Derecho is doing it, though. I believe that was Carlos who just did it in the background. I am not sure if it was. John Owens gives us an opportunity to see. Yep, here we go. Carlos, is he going for it? I saw it off track. That doesn't count. That does not count.
Carlos Dreshko very much got lost on the way to the jump. If you've got no idea what we're on about at home, there's you can sort of jump over the barrier and it's almost an iRacing customary sort of ending to Bathurst. Certainly one to embrace next time you're racing around Bathurst.
Or if you do Week 13 Super Truck races, it is the mandatory lap that you have to take. It should be an iRacing Rallycross track, though.
It should be.
Well, here's your final results. Yuki Shirakawa finishes on top of the leaderboards from flag to flag victory. But it wasn't as simple as that. Takes the win ahead of Sergio Macias behind him. Carlos Derecho, followed by Dennis Cornu, Daniel Gallus, John Alwood, Zoltan in 7th place, Jay Lawrence and Jesus Saiz in 9th, followed by Martin Horn, Takashi Shinoda, and Miguel Crespo, Corey Schramm, and Mike Land, followed by Tom Minot, Jay Adams, Edward Torres, Andrew Alonso, Fabio DeCarmo, Thomas LaPrick, Eddie Samborski, Emilio Garadio, and Simone Pisco, followed by Jason Sieg at the end of our 24 car grid. And the end of our race here today.
Certainly is. Well, Austin, we have some time for some quick interviews. I hear you're standing by with our overall race winner, Yuki Shirakawa.
That I am, Yuki. It was a fantastic race here today. You took pole. I believe this is your first pole position, and I believe your first win on an Apex Racing TV broadcast.
Yes, thank you. I chose Video Downforce as the only beast to win Edward. Unfortunately, his race ended early, but Sergio beat me in the same Video Downforce by pace. It was a close race, being locked down, but I was able to win the race. Next week, I will practice more because I can't use Video Downforce means.
Well, you certainly got the monkey off your back this week with that first victory. And yeah, the medium downforce certainly was working for y'all in the front straightaway. You pulled away from the rest of the pack. You did have a small issue, but you and Sergio, you were both using the same downforce method. It played in your favor. Congrats on that victory, Yuki.
Thank you. My first broadcast race me. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuki. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
Sorry, I got so many big English.
Totally understand that, Yuki. But I'm pretty sure everybody watching right now, they're all going to be very proud of you. Congrats on the victory, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank
you. Thank you. Congratulations to Yuki Shirakawa, our race winner, Sebastian. I don't know if Eddie is still here, but you want to give him a ring?
Yeah, let's bring Eddie Samborski into the commentary booth. Eddie, welcome to the commentary booth. Not the race I think you were hoping for today. Fairly short race from your side. Talk us through that incident at the start of the race.
Well, first I'd like to congratulate Yuki. What he meant to say is he chose medium downforce to beat me up the hill because he knew I had faster pace and high downforce, so he was going to try to pull a McLaren at Monza and keep me at bay. And he would also like to thank his team, SA Access, and all of the sponsors and everyone for their broadcasts. Unfortunately, some things get lost in translation. And it was a pointless incident at the top of the hill. Jason did this to me last season at Phillip Island. He just thinks he can place the car wherever he wants, and everyone else has to bow down to his mercy. And you know what? I had a run. I went to the inside, and he turned in on me. That's what happened. And you know what? When he reports me, iRacing will see I was off the gas entirely. So I don't know why he's lifting right there. Maybe he needed to. I don't know. But I was off the gas, and then I realized he was going slow, so I went to the left to try to get ahead of him because I knew I easily had a second of pace on him, a lap, especially at the start of the race. For drivers who don't know, it takes a while for the tires to warm up on medium downforce. So the first 5 laps, I would have been gone. Annoyingly, I didn't have a great qualifying, so it put me in that position. And, no matter what I do, I guess I can't buy any respect. So I guess I will grind the living heck all week long to try and make sure I get pole, so I don't have to be around anyone, because it seems like when I'm around someone, something bad happens.
I think just sort of, I don't want to bring up Vincent too much, but I think I've got to ask, don't you think that you have to bear some of the responsibility? Because, you know, I think me and Austin both called in commentary that, you know, the first lap when you head up the hill, it's not really a time to be making the moves. You've got to sort of, you know, wouldn't it in hindsight have been better to wait, you know, if you did have the pace over Jason ahead of you, and just sort of try and bide your time for later on in the race?
Absolutely not, because at some point I figure he would have stuffed the car in the wall, and then I'm collected regardless. So from your point of view, it seems like, yeah, I should have just waited, because, you know, I mean, I know I'm faster, but I still, you know, it's what's the difference if it's lap 1 or lap 10? If he's going to chop my nose, he's going to chop my nose. And I was patient up the hill. I didn't DRS. And then, you know, I mean, if the guy's going to lift off at a part where you should be wide open, I'm going to go for an overtake, because he doesn't have it. You know, I mean, it was the same thing at Phillip Island. I try to go to his inside. He runs me all the way to the inside of the track. He doesn't leave any room, and nobody bats an eye. But it's like, if I try to go, and there was a car width until he turned in. So, I mean, if he wants to go defensive, you got to go defensive. You can't leave it that late. I mean, I respect the guys' opinion, but, you know, from my point of view, I need to get the hell away from him.
Well, certainly tensions running high, but can certainly understand your point of view, Eddie. But, you know, reset will go again in 1 week's time. Thank you so much for coming to chat with us in the commentary booth. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Thank everyone for showing up. It was a kind of a, you know, it wasn't that great of a turnout, but it's kind of be expected with a combination that's unusually difficult, I would say. And I'd like to thank people that actually raced me clean, because, you know, it's better to finish the race. I mean, I guess, you know, no matter what I do, I don't deserve a cards with, apparently. So.
Thank you very much, Eddie, and we'll see you in 1 week's time when we head back to home territory for me and back to Silverstone.
Yeah, well, I hope that place never goes on a schedule again. It's not my favorite, so. But we'll see you next week.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And that was Eddie Samborski there.
Yep, next week it is Silverstone, and it will be our 7th week on the schedule. Bathurst, it's time to call it a close over here on Apex Racing TV. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. I've been joined by Sebastian Bosher-Williams with John Robertson in the production booth, and I'm Austin Knott, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.